back. You're still tuned into Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. This is a show where we discuss all the stocks that are buzzing in trade today. And for the Indian markets, it's absolutely flat as we speak. Although over the last few minutes, we've recovered from the lowest point of the day. But on an index level, much like what we've seen over the last few trading sessions, it is absolutely flat. But let's get going with all the stocks that are buzzing in trade today. And on the technical side, we are joined by Nilesh Jain, Head Derivatives and Technical Research at Centrum Broking. And on the research desk, we are as always joined by Kanishka and Ravinder. Let's get going then. Nilesh, BEML, that's the first stock that you've picked for us. Tell us, where do you see the stock headed from here on, and what do charts suggest from the current level?
Very good afternoon to you. So if you look at the BEML structure from past few trading sessions, we have seen a good momentum in this particular counter. It is trading well above all long-term and short-term moving averages. Today specifically, the stock has given a good breakout from its past 2 weeks of consolidation now. So from here, we are expecting a major uptrend to resume, and stock is likely to test 5,000 mark going forward. So this is slightly short to medium term target for this particular counter. Can be added at current level, can be added on declines, keeping a stop loss below 4,500. From a short-term perspective, the target comes around 4,800, and from July series expiry point of view, the target for the BEML comes somewhere around 5,000.
See levels of 5,000 on BEML, that's the technical view coming in. But let's shift focus to the IT sector then, Birlasoft, and we have a brokerage report that has come up this morning, because of which the stock is in focus today. In fact, Antique has initiated coverage with a buy rating. In fact, it's a hold rating with a target price of 450 rupees per share. Antique also says that they expect growth to gradually improve in fiscal 26, supported by deal ramp-ups and recovery in key verticals going forward over the next few years. Management expects margins to remain steady at about 13% in FY26, but margins could improve to 17, 18, 19% levels over FY27 and 28. So as far as margins are concerned, they are likely to recover over the next 2 years, although it is expected to remain stable this time around. On the back of this report that Antique has come out with, they are maintaining their whole stance. 450 rupees per share is the target price. The stock, of course, is not reacting much, but it is in focus on the back of this news piece. But Dixon Technology, Rabinder, you picked up this stock for us. Tell us, what's the news piece here?
Well, yes, Dixon Technology is in focus, where companies say that the Litanium is incorporated as a joint venture of the company and Signify, and Litanium will carry on the business of original equipment manufacturer OEM of lighting product and accessories, and the cost of the acquisition will be 2.5 crore. Apart from this, JP Morgan has also come out with a note, and they have initiated a coverage on Dixon Technology with outperform rating. So back of this, Dixon Technology is in focus, and the stock is holding a gain of approx 2%.
Okay, so the stock is holding on with gains of nearly 1.5 to 2% as we speak. But shifting focus to the BFSI segment then, and Cholamandalam Finance, Nilesh, the stock is up nearly 1.5% today, and I was going through the chart. It is up 30% on a year-to-date basis, outperforming the benchmark index. Where do you see the stock headed from the current 1546 level?
As you have rightly pointed out, we have seen a good momentum in last couple of months in this particular stock. Although some bit of consolidation can be seen on the chart in last 2 months, the stock is stuck in a very tight range of 1650 to 1500 at current level. The risk and reward looks attractive because the stock is trading near about its major support of 1500. So a stop loss should be placed at 1500, and we are expecting another 50 to 100 point move on the upside. So 1650 our target for the July series. From a very short-term perspective, stock may test the levels of 1600 as well. So it's a buy with a stop loss below 1500, and target would be 1600 to 1650.
Okay, so we could see levels of 1600 to 1650 on Cholamandalam Investment Finance. That's the word and the technical chart view coming in. But shifting focus to the real estate sector then, Kanishka, Lodha Developers, tell us what's the news piece over here.
Right, so Lodha Developers is in focus on the back of a very bullish brokerage note that comes from Motilal Oswal. It sees strong growth visibility going ahead. In fact, it expects the company to clock a 20% CAGR in pre-sales backed by a robust launch pipeline, expansion into new markets like Pune and Bangalore, and also solid execution. Now, in Q1 FY26 alone, Lodha has reported 44.5 billion rupees in pre-sales. That is up 10% on a year-on-year basis, and it has already met 91% of its FY26 business development guidance in just one quarter. Now, the brokerage notes that Lodha's continued focus on acquiring high-potential projects, particularly in Bangalore and NCR, positions it well for sustained expansion going forward. Therefore, the brokerage has reiterated a buy stance on the company with a revised target of 1,870 rupees, which is implying a 36% upside from the levels that we saw yesterday. Now, today, the stock is up about 1% in trade.
Motilal Oswal has reiterated their buy stance, the stock in focus on the back of that. But shifting focus to Concor or Container Corporation of India, Nilesh, it has barely done anything over the last few months, but today it is up nearly 2.5%. 613 is where the stock is currently trading. Has it broken past an important resistance levels, and where do you see the stock headed from the current levels?
Right, so we have seen a lot of underperformance in this particular stock over the period of previous 1.5 year now. The stock now looks like making a base formation, or it's too early to call it as a bottom, but looks like a very strong base formation somewhere around 600 to 550 zone. So from here, we are expecting a strong pullback. This pullback can take this counter towards 635 to 650 on the upside. So for a price target of 635, 650, Concor is a buy at current level. Stop loss should be placed at 592.
That's where the stop loss should be placed, and Concor is a buy. That's the word coming in from Nilesh. But shifting focus to a whole host of consumer staple stocks that are in focus today on the back of a Jefferies report, where Jefferies says that they see limited downside from the current market price, and they see potential for a cyclical upturn in fundamentals going forward. In fact, Jefferies also said that they believe most of the negatives are already priced in, and perhaps we could see more upside on most of these stocks. So for Varun Beverages, they've maintained their buy stance. Their revised target price now stands at 560. Asian Paints, they've upgraded the stock to a buy rating. Their revised target price now stands at 2830 rupees per share. And we have HUL, where they've maintained their buy stance. So on the back of Jefferies' report, where they believe that these stocks could outperform going forward, all of these stocks are buzzing in trade today. But shifting focus to BEL then, Rabinder, I believe this is on the back of an order win. Tell us more about the contract.
Whereas Bharat Electronic is in focus, where company has said that the Indian Navy has signed a contract with BEL for implementation of NMDA project, and the project entails upgradation of existing national command, control, communication and intelligence network. So back of this, Bharat Electronic is in focus, though the news is positive, but the stock is down with more than 1%.
Okay, so Bharat Electronics, the stock is sitting with a cut of nearly 1% as we speak. So that's BEL for you. But Godrej Consumer Products, Nilesh, why have you picked up this stock, and where do you see the stock headed from here on?
So if you see consumption space, in last few trading sessions, we have seen a good momentum in consumption basket as a whole. So Godrej Consumer Products, this particular stock is looking very strong on the chart. It is on the verge of a breakout from its multi-month horizontal trend line. But looking at the today's move, in fact, in last 4 consecutive sessions, we have seen a strong momentum in this particular stock. So we are expecting a follow-up move to continue towards the levels of 1330 to 1360 on the upside, with the stop loss below 1265. Godrej Consumer Product is a buy.
Buy rating coming in on Godrej Consumer Products. The stock is currently trading near the 1295 odd levels. But Tata Tech, Kanishka, what's the news flow here?
That's right. So Tata Tech is in focus today because it has partnered with US-based Emerson to innovate integrated testing and validation solutions for global original equipment makers, that is OEMs, in the automotive, aerospace and commercial vehicle sectors. Now, this partnership aims to empower manufacturers to tackle the complexities of next-gen mobility by combining Tata Tech's expertise in systems engineering, EE architecture and mobility platform development with Emerson's software-connected test and measurement solutions. Now, following the collaboration announcement, the stock is up more than 0.5% in trade today.
Okay, so the stock is holding up with gains of nearly 0.6% as we speak. So that's Tata Technology for you, the stock in focus on the back of that news piece. But shifting focus then, Parliamentary Standing Committee on Transport, Tourism and Culture is scheduled to meet today. My colleague Prakash Priyadarshi is now joining us to decode what's on the agenda of this meeting. Prakash, over to you.
The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Transport, Tourism and Culture is scheduled to meet today, a very crucial meeting in the backdrop of Air India's plane crash, where the committee is expected to review the overall safety measures being taken by the government in the civil aviation sector. A very significant development coming in. In fact, the committee has summoned the civil aviation secretary as well, where members are expected to ask several questions to the secretary about the safety measures being ensured in the civil aviation sector by the government and industry to avoid such incident in the future. This meeting is also crucial in the context of two ongoing investigations. One is being chaired by the Home Secretary and another is being conducted by AIB. It is believed that the AIB has already submitted its preliminary report to the government, and therefore members are expected to ask several questions to the Civil Aviation Secretary about the findings of the AIB's report. It is important to note that this meeting is happening a day after Parliament's PSC meeting, which was held with the several stakeholders in the civil aviation sector to review the overall safety measures, including some other issues as well.
Prakash, thanks so much for joining us with all those details. But we need to slip into a very short break. Many more buzzers coming up on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Market Fatafat, a show where we discuss all the stocks that are buzzing in trade today. So let's get going. And the first stock that we've picked up now is Prestige Estates on the back of operational data that the company came out with just an hour ago. The stock, of course, is not reacting much. It's in the red as we speak, down nearly 1.3%. So it registered sales of about 12,126 crores in the first quarter. Collections, though, stood at about 4,500 crores, which is an uptick of a solid 55% on a year-on-year basis. Occupancy levels came in at 93.7% for office and 98.9% for the residential segment. So operational update, after which the stock has barely reacted. It was in the red earlier as well, but now on the back of this news piece, the stock continues to remain in focus. But let's shift focus to Jio Financial then. Nilesh, why have you picked up this stock for us today?
So Jio Finance, we have seen a good momentum in this particular stock as well. It is, in fact, has given a good breakout from its flag and fold candlestick chart pattern on the daily time frame chart. So this pattern target comes somewhere around 350 to 360 on the upside. Even if you just pull up last 1 year chart, you can clearly see the stock is forming a big rounding bottom formation after bottoming out near about 220 to 240 zone. So from here, we are expecting momentum to continue towards 350 to 360 from a short-term perspective with a stop loss below 321. The risk and reward is also looking attractive at present level. So 321 should be the stop loss. 350 to 360 will be the target on the upside.
Okay, so 350 is the target on the upside. That's the word coming in on Jio Financial. But let's shift focus to Tata Motors then. Rabinder, tell us what's the news piece here?
Well, as Tata Motors is in focus, where Tata Motors group has come out with their Q1 FY26 business update, and the global wholesale was down by 9% to 2.99 lakh units on a year-on-year basis, and global wholesale of commercial vehicles was down by 6% at 87,569 units on a yearly basis. And if we talk about passenger vehicles, then the global wholesales of the passenger vehicles was also down by 10% at 1.24 lakh units, and global wholesale for the Jaguar Land Rover was down by 11% at 87,286 units on a year-on-year basis. So back of this business update, Tata Motors is in focus.
Okay, so Tata Motors sitting with gains of nearly 0.2% as we speak. But shifting focus from auto to the pharmaceutical sector then, Lupin, any particular news piece apart from the Donald Trump 200% tariff announcement that came in overnight for the pharma space?
That's right, Shesha. So there is a collaboration announcement that has come. Now, Lupin has entered into a strategic agreement with Zentiva to commercialize its biosimilar certolizumab pegol across Australia, Japan, Brazil, Philippines and India as well. Now, under this partnership, Lupin will develop, manufacture and supply the biosimilar, while Zentiva will handle commercialization in Europe and the CIS regions. Lupin will lead efforts in other markets including the US and Canada. Zentiva will make a non-refundable payment of up to $50 million, including a $10 million upfront payment. Now, on the back of this news flow, if you take a look at the stock currently, it is around it has taken a hit. It's down more than it's down about 0.5% in trade.
Okay, so Lupin down 0.6% as we speak, but let's also talk about Vedanta. Then there was a short seller report that came in this morning, after which the stock tanked. In fact, the stock was sitting with a cut of nearly 3.5% at one point in time. Although it has recovered a tad bit, it's still down 3.5%. But Vedanta has gone ahead and clarified on this short seller report, which stated that the company is financially unstable. This is for the parent company Vedanta Resources. The report said that the parent company is financially unstable, operationally compromised, and resembles a Ponzi scheme. But the company has now gone ahead on record and clarified. They've said that Vedanta Group responds to the report. They've also said that report contains compilation of various misinformation, which is not true. Most of the allegations are baseless. So that's the clarification that Vedanta has come out with. It has recovered a tad bit from the lowest point of the day, but despite that, sitting with a cut of nearly 3.5%. But that's all the time we have on this edition of Market Fatafat. Rabinder, Kanishka, Nilesh, thanks so much for highlighting all the stocks that are buzzing in trade today. But shifting focus then, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal had earlier indicated that the government is working on new measures to boost domestic toy manufacturing. And now, in an ET Now exclusive, we have learned that the centre is set to roll out a comprehensive new toys policy, which may involve an outlay of about 5,000 crores. My colleague Sameer Dikshit is now joining us with more details on this.
The centre is likely to come up with a new toy policy with a potential outlay of around rupees 5,000 crore very soon. And in the same direction, the Ministry of Commerce held a very important meeting with the key stakeholders, representatives from the Toy Association of India, from BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, DPIIT, MSME Ministry, and the officials from the Commerce Ministry. They were a part of this important meeting. But we are picking up from our sources that the draft of the new toy policy is likely to come up in next 3 months. And with this new toy policy, the government intends to boost domestic manufacturing, also to support the MSME sector, and the larger purpose is also to increase the toys export tenfold as of now. So this toy industry, which is having an industry size of around $2.9 billion, government is targeting to increase the industry size to beyond $5 billion in next 5 years by around 2030. And in the same direction, the new toy policy is likely to offer many benefits to the toy industry. For example, setting up of a toy cluster. This policy will help to generate more sort of employment. Recently, government announced the employment incentive scheme. So this scheme is going to support the toy industry as well. In addition to this, a couple of other benefits will also be provided, and state government support has also been sought for the new toy policy. So overall, the new toy policy is on the card, and with this, government understand that this will help to take the Indian toys on a global scale.
Thanks so much, Sameer, for joining us with all those details. But shifting focus to some national stories then, and at least 9 people are dead and several feared trapped after a bridge collapsed in Gujarat. The mishap resulted in several vehicles to fall into Mahisagar River. Meanwhile, 5 persons have been rescued so far, and the operation is currently underway. Times Network's Hiten Vithlani is now joining us with more updates on this. Hiten, over to you.
वडोदरा और आनंद को जोड़ने वाला जो ब्रिज था वो आज सुबह धराशायी हुआ। ये तस्वीर अगर हम आपको दिखा पाए तो आप देखिए किस तरीके से आनंद से वडोदरा की तरफ आने वाला वो जो टैंकर है वो अभी भी वैसे ही लटका हुआ है, और एक ट्रक जो नीचे गिरा हुआ था इसे अब क्रेन की मदद से खींचने का काम किया जा रहा है। हालांकि रेस्क्यू में दिक्कतें इसलिए हो रही है क्योंकि यहाँ पर अगर मैं आपको तस्वीर दिखा पाऊँ तो आप देखिए नीचे पूरी तरह से कादव कीचड़ बना हुआ है, यानी कि दलदल वाली जमीन के चलते उन गाड़ियों को खींच पाना जो है वो काफ़ी मुश्किल है। यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हैं एसडीआरएफ, एनडीआरएफ समेत सभी टीम रेस्क्यू की जो है वो घटनास्थल पर मौजूद है। अब तक 10 लोगों की मौत इस हादसे में हो चुकी है और 9 लोगों को अस्पताल जो है वो पहुंचाया गया है। यहाँ पर आप देखेंगे तो वो ऑटो रिक्शा नजर आएगी आपको, कैसे किस तरीके से उस ऑटो को खींचकर बाहर किया गया है। वो इको कार और एक पिकअप वैन आपको नजर आएगी, उसका हाल क्या है। वो भी कीचड़ में जो है वो फंसे हुए हैं। हालांकि जिस तरीके की परिस्थिति इस नदी के इर्द गिर्द बनी हुई है जिसके चलते रेस्क्यू टीम को काफ़ी सारी दिक्कतें हो रही है। लेकिन इस ब्रिज के अगर हिस्से को आप देखें तो देखिए किस तरीके से 2 पिलर के बीच का ये हिस्सा जो है वो सीधा धराशायी होकर नीचे गया, जिसके बाद ये हादसा हो चुका है। हालांकि सवाल इस वक्त अब ये खड़ा होता है कि जब पिछले साल इस ब्रिज को रिपेयर किया गया था तो उस वक्त इस ब्रिज पे से हैवी व्हीकल की आवागमन को बंद क्यों नहीं किया गया। तो सीनियर अधिकारियों को घटनास्थल पर भेजा गया है, अब वो जांच करेंगे। उसके बाद कहीं ना कहीं सरकार की तरफ से एक अकाउंटेबिलिटी जो है वो तय की जाएगी कि आखिरकार इस हादसे में लापरवाही किसकी है, लापरवाही है या भ्रष्टाचार है या क्या कुछ है, ये सब कुछ जांच के बाद साफ होगा। क्योंकि 2022 में जब मोरबी में हादसा हुआ था उसके बाद 3 साल पहले गुजरात सरकार ने सभी ब्रिज के ऑडिट का एक आदेश दे दिया गया था, लेकिन महज 3 साल के भीतर ये एक ब्रिज का धराशायी होना, कॉलेप्स होना और इतने लोगों की मौत होना, आखिरकार किसी न किसी को तो अब जवाबदेही लेनी होगी।
An unfortunate incident there in Gujarat. But shifting focus then, government is stepping up its efforts to keep. ED has now learned that Centre is working on introducing a regulatory cost impact assessment framework, which is aimed at measuring the cost burden of compliance on companies and customers before rolling out any new regulation. Let's go across to Anurag Shah, who is now joining us with more details. Anurag, over to you.
So to bring more transparency and accountability for regulators, government is planning to bring a regulatory cost impact assessment framework, and recently a meeting also held between insurance regulator IRDA, RBI, PFRDA, IBA. The purpose of regulatory cost assessment is that whatever the regulatory changes the regulator will be bringing, the cost assessment will be done, and while the change in regulation only, it will be reflected that the new regulation will bring that much impact, and the overall cost assessment will be done, and the cost on the companies and on the customer also will be assessed during the change in regulation only. So main purpose of government to bring the cost assessment, regulatory cost assessment, is to bring more transparency and accountability for regulators.
Anurag, thanks so much for joining us with all those details. But that's all the time we have on this edition of Market Fatafat. Don't go anywhere. Closing trades will take you through the last hour of trade.